I began writing on food almost a decade ago. It started with a paper entitled Trail of Aroma. Then I wrote a chapter for Nova História da Expansão Portuguesa, the fifth volume. And this was followed by the journey of Goan food coordinated by Dr. Kuto. However, I was reluctant to write a book on Goan gastronomy, given the complexities of our varied cuisines. But at the same time, I realized that our land is going through a period of transformation. Many of our recipes, food customs, and habits are changing or disappearing altogether. I felt the need to capture this interesting page of Goan culture. I wished also to leave a legacy for my own people, for the new generation in my family, who will never experience what I have experienced with Cozinha de Goa. But it was not an easy task. It took me almost 5 years. Of course, I was busy with other things in between. The book has 8 chapters: glossary, bibliography, index, and lot of information in boxes. As we all know, Goan cuisine is a vibrant fusion of varied influences: Arab, Portuguese, Brazilian, French, African, Malaysian, British, Anglo-Indian, and of course, Konkan. This context brought a revolution in our food culture by introducing new plants that produce fruits and vegetables never seen or heard before, that is before the 16th century. Vegetables and fruits like chilies, which were brought all the way from Brazil. Imagine our curries and other food without the chilies. Potatoes, cashew nuts, tomatoes, and others. New recipes, how to make bread or make vinegar and wine, and new food habits. Many food recipes and habits met here and got transformed. There was improvisation, adoption, and modification. These influences led to change in our diet. All the food stuff that was brought to India or brought to Goa were not easily accepted by the society. There was resistance. Certain fruits, like for instance tomato, was considered polluting and not included in the food that was offered for the gods. At times, edicts were issued to impose changes. Goan cuisine consists mainly of 2 cuisines: the Hindu cuisine, which is very rich and ancient, and the Christian cuisine with Hindu roots but more global touch. We Goans are very passionate about our food, and we talk about it all the time. Especially we talk about fish. We cook not only to sustain ourselves, but we cook for occasions. Our calendar is full of festivities which take place throughout the year: Ganesh Chaturthi, Diwali, Christmas, Easter, Feast of Village Patron Saints, Ladinhas and Zatras. We cook varied and special food for these occasions. We also cook to celebrate important events in our life, right from birth to death. All this is discussed in chapter entitled Festive Food. Food also is cooked for the new mother, in memory of ancestors, for the sick, for travel, and according to the seasons. Food has been used to gain favors and as a symbol of friendship. In colonial times, rulers were involved in what is known as mango diplomacy. The Portuguese used to send sagwaj in form of mangoes from Goa to the Maratha rulers and to the Mughal kings in Delhi to keep them happy, to keep the lines of communication open, and to keep them out of trouble. Lucio Rodrigues, in his book Soil, Soul, and Konkani Folk Tales, tells us an anecdote how the people of a village in Bardej, I'm not going to name the village, decided to send the best and the tastiest mangoes to the then Governor General. They They wondered how to choose the most tastiest and luscious one. They discussed among themselves, and the wisest of them all spoke. The proof of a tasty mango lies in eating. We must taste each of these mangoes, just a nibble and a suck, and then there can be no mistakes in our selection. And that is what's done. Every mango was nibbled and then sent it to the Governor General. One chapter is devoted to the traditional kitchen and dispenser of the past. A detailed description focuses on the armory of the kitchen, utensils and equipments of all shapes and sizes, made of various material, each with its unique names. During the colonial times, there were few printed cookery books, and most of them were concerning Goan Christian cuisine. But out of these two date back to the 19th century. Perhaps the first cookery book on Goan cuisine is the one in Portuguese, published in Bombay by Luís Filipe Martins, son of master cook Luís Martins from Panjim. And the second book published at that time was in Romi Konkani. Apparently this book in Romi Konkani is the first book to use the term Goan in place of Goanese. That was vogue at that time. Goans were referred to as Goanese. The book is a work of Pedro Damião Dias, who was chef de cuisine of two viceroys, Lord Minto and Lord Hardinge, in the early decades of the 20th century. Recipes were usually memorized or handwritten in exercise books called Caderno de Receitas or Livro de Receitas. Many families in Goa still have them. These recipes are heirlooms passed from generation to generation, from a mother to a daughter, from an aunt to a niece, or from a grandmother to her granddaughter. There were no exact measures. Little bit of this and little bit of that. Sumar, odd mass, mutibor, that is fistful, and chimti, pinchful. What is necessary? But what is that is necessary? What is enough? Or some recipe says porcelain of prawn. What was the size of porcelain? Nobody knows. A cup of rice. What was the size of that cup of rice? A quarter of a chocolate. What was the size of the chocolate? Or a quarter of butter? Another chapter deals with style of serving and eating across the time. There were differences between serving and eating habits of Hindus, Muslims, and Christians. Food not only came from other parts of the world to Goa. Goan food in its turn also traveled the world. Layered bibinka, mango, and coconut samplings. They have traveled as far as Hawaii and Brazil. There are similarities between Goan food and food of northeast of Brazil, which Brazilian researchers claim have Goan roots. Food and recipes from Goa were carried abroad by traders, missionaries, sailors, and Goan migrants, including the famous Goan cooks. Goan cooks were in great demand among the British, the Parsis, and the Sindhis. They were makers of status among the British and Anglo-Indian families. No sooner a British woman in India could afford, she would hire a Goan cook. They were all sought after. They were also sought after in Africa, in Iran, and on board of ships. It is said that the British naval official refused to sail if there was no Goan cook on board. Two famous chefs who made waves in British India were Pedro Damião Dias and Miguel Arcanjo Mascarenhas, who was the chef de cuisine of iconic Taj Hotel in Bombay. Goans were also pioneers in introducing bread in Bombay and other places. And in Bombay, the Goans held the monopoly of bread making until the British, the Jews, and the Iranis took over in the 20th century. Goan food was also the marker of Goan identity in places like Bombay. We Goans are known as Makapa. All this is dealt chapter 7. The last chapter discusses the Goan food in present times and the changes it is undergoing. In my book, I have focused on food I grew up on and I am most familiar with. Many people have asked me if there are no recipes in my book. They have been included wherever they add value. To those interested in studying Goan food, I would like to say there are still aspects of Goan food that needs to be researched. I wish some young researchers would take up this interesting topic. At this moment, I am grateful to so many people. Amitabh Ghosh was very gracious in taking interest in my book in more ways than one. I am grateful for his suggestions. I thank him for the honor he gave me in launching my book. To Consul General of Portugal, Dr. António Sabit Costa, special thanks for his presence, so also to other dignitaries. The panelists, my friends, Alito, Sagia, Vivek, Sumedha and Vashti, have made a valuable contribution to the interesting debate we had today. To them and to young Amina, I am most obliged. In organizing this launch, we received the cooperation and the support from Dipti and Raj Salgaonkar, the chairperson and the vice chairperson of Sunaparanta. Thank you, Dipti, for your presence. I know you changed your schedule to be here today. Thank you, Margaret Mascarenhas, she is not here, Shamoli, Nilima, Justina, and the staff of Sunaparanta for your help. Dr. Aurora Couto and her late husband, Alban Couto, appreciated my very first paper on food that I presented at an international seminar some years ago. Both of them nudged me to explore further. Thank you, Mrs. Couto. The beautiful cover in this book is the work of well-known artist and my former student, Harshada Kirkar. Harshada also prepared a series of unique paintings on Goan food. Thank you, Harshada, with all my heart. Thanks also to Valerie Rodriguez for her drawings in the book. The book saw the light of the day due to the efforts of Frederick Noronha of Goa 1556 and Khalil Ahmed of Broadway. I am grateful to them for their offer to publish my book. Many thanks to Edgar Silveira for the trouble he took to put up this photo exhibition on Goan food. Nayantara, your beautiful voice has made a difference to this function today. Each one of you present here who have graced the function have added to my joy. Thank you very much.